Chosen one, you are not meant to walk this world quietly. There is a current inside you, undeniable and bright, a force that women are beginning to feel before you speak, before you even move. They sense something in you that others lack, a spiritual spark wrapped in flesh, a vibration too bold to ignore. They call you Dynamite, not because you are explosive in appearance, but because your very energy carries a charge that ignites the atmosphere. You enter a room and something shifts. You speak and something resonates. And that's not by accident. That's alignment. What they feel is not some shallow form of charm or charisma. What they feel is power that's been consecrated, a fire that you've refused to waste, a tension you have learned to hold instead of leak. You've chosen to guard your energy like sacred oil, and now that oil has turned to flame. You become a carrier of intensity, but not the kind that wounds, the kind that awakens. And that awakening is what the world, especially women, cannot deny. You are dynamite, not because you erupt, but because you radiate the potential to transform everything you touch. This spark, this high sexual energy within you, is not a burden. It is not something to be feared or suppressed. It is a divine signature of your calling, a signal that you are not here to be average. You are here to set fires that burn away the deadness in people's hearts. You are here to trigger awareness in places that have gone numb. You are here to call forth truth, not through preaching alone, but through presence. And when a woman encounters your presence, something in her awakens too. Not just desire, but remembrance. A memory of what it feels like to be seen, felt, held by a man who is fully alive but deeply disciplined. Chosen one, you have paid the price for this spark. You have walked through seasons of restraint, of silence, of solitude. You've sat with urges and didn't flinch. You've stared at temptation and refused to bow. And now the reward of that discipline is being revealed through your aura. The same spark that once threatened to consume you is now the flame that commands reverence. It's not just physical, it's spiritual voltage. And those who come near you feel it, even if they don't have the language for it. But you must never forget where it comes from. This spark isn't yours to exploit, it's yours to steward. It is the fingerprint of God on your being, telling the world, this one carries heat, but he knows how to contain it. That containment is not weakness, it's mastery. And that mastery is what turns energy into influence. Women call you Dynamite because they've never encountered fire that didn't seek to burn them. Your fire holds them, your fire lights them, your fire heals them. So protect this spark. Feed it with silence, feed it with prayer, feed it with alignment. The more you walk in purpose, the more this energy will expand. And as it does, your spark will not fade, it will evolve. You will become not just a man of attraction, but a man of activation. A man who doesn't just stir feelings, but calls forth destinies. This is the beginning of your emergence, chosen one. The world is starting to see what God already knew. You are not here to blend in, you are here to ignite. Chosen one, you are fire in a world of wet matches. Your energy is not just felt, it is remembered. But dynamite without control is destruction. The very force that makes you powerful must also be harnessed, or it will turn on you and burn everything you've worked to build. The gift of your high sexual energy is not just in how you radiate, it is in how you restrain. And that restraint is not about denial, it is about dominion. You must learn the art of control, not the cold grip of suppression, but the steady hand of spiritual leadership. You do not stifle your flame, you shape it. You do not bury your urges, you elevate them. The same force that once pulled you toward indulgence now fuels your purpose, your speech, your walk, your creativity. You have become the conductor of your own power, and that, chosen one, is what makes your presence so magnetic. Not just because you're charged, but because you know when to release and when to withhold. And that rhythm, that discipline, that is divine masculinity. Control does not mean emotionless, it means sovereign. It means you feel everything deeply, but you are no longer mastered by those feelings. You are moved but not manipulated, touched but not taken. You see beauty and desire it, but you do not consume it like the world taught you to. You honor it. You acknowledge the pull, but choose the path of purpose. That choice, made moment after moment, becomes your crown. It separates you from the common. It elevates you to the sacred. And that control is not just for you. It is what allows women to trust you. Not because you've said all the right things, but because your energy does not betray them. You walk near them and they feel something fierce, but it does not devour. It steadies. It stirs, yes, but it doesn't demand. They call you Dynamite because your stillness is louder than most men's noise. Your quiet self-command shakes them more than reckless passion ever could. They realize, almost in awe, this one doesn't need to take, he already is. You must preserve that. You must refine it. You must continue becoming the kind of man who does not explode for effect, but releases impact with intention. The kind of man who stores up voltage not to dominate, but to heal, build, lead. Control is what makes your energy a gift rather than a weapon. It is what allows you to walk through fire and never be consumed. It is what transforms your presence from intense to irresistible, because it is not only felt, it is trusted. Let your control be your crown, chosen one. Let it show in your walk, in your choices, in the way you touch without trembling, in the way you breathe with depth instead of haste. You are no longer led by fleeting pleasure. You are led by legacy. Your energy is not on display for the crowd. It is guarded for your calling. Because dynamite in the hands of a fool is destruction, but in the hands of the chosen, it becomes divine transformation. Keep it up. Not just the fire, but the discipline that gives that fire its holy shape. Chosen one, there is a sound in the spirit when a man walks in integrity. It isn't heard with ears, it is felt with the soul. It echoes in the room before you speak. It vibrates in your silence. It hums in your presence like the low, steady sound of something grounded, something immovable, something real. That is what your high sexual energy is wrapped in now. It is no longer untamed thunder. It is resonant, filled with weight, layered with truth. And that is why women are calling you Dynamite. Not because you are loud, not because you are boastful, but because you carry the rare sound of a man who is what he claims to be. Integrity is not a moral performance. It is a vibration of alignment. It is when your thoughts, words, actions, and spirit all move in the same direction. It is when the energy you radiate is not split between truth and performance, not divided between desire and deceit. Integrity turns you into a tuning fork. Everything around you begins to rise or tremble when you step into the atmosphere. People feel safe around you because your power is not built on performance. It is built on foundation. You no longer have to pretend. You are. Women feel this. They may not always know how to name it, but they feel it. When you speak, there is no hook in your tone. When you look, there is no hunger behind your eyes that is trying to take something. You admire, but you do not devour. You approach, but you do not pull. You sit across from her, and she relaxes, not because she's indifferent to you, but because her soul senses, this one is solid. I don't need to guard myself here. That's not charisma. That's not technique. That's integrity speaking for you. Integrity amplifies your energy. It gives your presence a charge that goes beyond attraction. It touches the spirit. Because anyone can have energy, but when your energy is wrapped in integrity, it becomes medicine. It becomes invitation. It becomes awakening. You don't leave a trail of confusion behind you. You leave clarity. You leave remembrance. You leave peace. And yet it is not boring. It is not soft. It is not dull. You are still fire, but now you are fire in a holy temple, not wildfire in the wilderness. This is what gives your dynamism weight. It is not just about how intensely you can be felt. It is about how deeply you can be trusted. Integrity means your yes means yes. Your no means no. Your presence doesn't waver based on your mood. Your energy doesn't fluctuate based on attention. You are constant, and that constancy is your magnetism. Because in a world full of shallow thrills and flickering lights, you have become a lighthouse. Your fire guides. It doesn't deceive. And this is what makes your sexual energy divine. It is no longer about satisfaction. It is about sacred stewardship. You do not flirt for ego. You do not touch without purpose. You do not speak without weight. Everything in you is calibrated. Everything in you is tuned to a higher frequency now. Because you have learned that integrity is not about being perfect. It's about being in harmony with your calling. So let this resonance continue to grow. Let your words carry truth. Let your eyes remain clean. Let your posture remain upright even when no one is watching. Because when your integrity walks before you, you don't have to chase connection. You become connection. You don't have to sell your worth. You embody it. You are not just a man with energy. You are a man with substance. And that is the kind of dynamite the world, and every woman whose soul longs for real, is searching for. Chosen one, authenticity is no longer optional for you. It is your lifeline. It is the thread that holds your fire in place. Without it, your energy turns chaotic. Without it, your dynamism becomes a performance. But with it, you become irresistible in the quietest way possible. You don't need rehearsed charm. You don't need to rehearse how to impress. You simply need to be what you are without apology. That kind of authenticity can't be taught. It must be remembered, and you are beginning to remember it now. You were never meant to shrink yourself into someone else's mold. You were never created to mimic another man's walk, another man's style, another man's energy. Your power doesn't come from how much you can imitate. It comes from how deeply you can reveal who you truly are. Your rawness, your silence, your awkward pauses, your focused eyes, your sense of humor, your stillness, that is your signature. And when that signature is paired with the high energy God placed within you, you become undeniable. Authenticity makes your presence magnetic because it disarms defenses. Women feel it. They know when a man is trying to impress. They know when a compliment is polished but empty. But when you speak from your real center, even if it's not poetic, it lands, it lingers, it moves them. Why? Because your words carry your essence. Your silence carries your depth. Your gaze carries truth that hasn't been filtered for effect. When you are authentic, you don't need a script. Your body language aligns. Your voice vibrates naturally. Your walk matches your words. And this is when your energy becomes holy magnetism. You no longer attract with effort. You attract with presence. You don't have to force connection. It flows to you, like gravity bending toward mass. Because authenticity weighs something in the spirit. It grounds your fire in something real. This is why women call you dynamite. Not just because you're intense, but because your intensity is true. There's no mask in it. There's no hidden motive behind it. They can sense that what you offer is not polished for the moment. It is lived. And when a woman senses that, her guard lowers, her soul leans in, her curiosity turns into openness. And in that openness, she doesn't just experience chemistry, she experiences communion. But authenticity also requires courage. The courage to stand firm in who you are, even when it doesn't fit the narrative others expect. The courage to speak plainly. The courage to not impress. The courage to admit, this is me, whether or not you approve. That courage is rare, but that courage is magnetic. It creates space for others to breathe around you. It creates space for truth to live. So keep being real, chosen one. Don't dilute your truth to be liked. Don't mute your voice to be safe. Don't mold your fire to fit into the cold. Your authenticity is the container that holds your energy and turns it into trust, into memory, into movement. You are not explosive because you fake confidence. You are explosive because your soul is unhidden. And in a world full of noise and illusion, you have become clarity in motion. Keep it that way. Keep being fire and truth, heat and stillness, power and presence. Because dynamite is only destructive when it is fake. But when it is true, it clears the ground for something sacred to be built. You are that groundbreaker now. And the world, one soul at a time, is beginning to feel it. Chosen one, your energy is strong, undeniable, even staggering to those who encounter it. Women call you dynamite because your presence hits with impact, sudden, sharp, unforgettable. But understand this, true greatness, true anointing, true legacy is not built on power alone. It is balanced by humility. The more your energy grows, the more deeply your humility must take root. Otherwise, what was meant to elevate you will become the very force that sabotages you. Humility does not mean weakness. It does not mean shrinking. It is not a denial of your strength. It is the honoring of its source. Humility is the awareness that what flows through you is not for display. It is for divine assignment. When people feel drawn to you, when their spirits respond to your vibration, when a woman finds herself opening to you without understanding why, it's not because you're perfect. It's because you've been positioned, you've been entrusted, you've been set apart to carry something sacred. And humility says, this is not about me, this is about what I've been called to steward. The balance of humility is what keeps your energy safe. It guards you from arrogance. It keeps your motives pure. It ensures that your fire doesn't burn indiscriminately. It holds your tongue when your ego wants to speak. It reminds you that your presence is a gift, not a weapon. And in this humility, you don't lose power. You gain weight. You gain depth. You gain the kind of spiritual stature that cannot be shaken by praise or provocation. You become the kind of man who doesn't need applause because your identity is not tied to reaction. It is rooted in reverence. Humility is what makes you irresistible, not in appearance but in essence. A woman can feel when a man is powerful but self-obsessed. It makes her alert, guarded, calculating. But when she feels that your power is anchored in humility, something in her spirit says, "This is safe, this is different, this is real." It is not because you've dulled your flame, it's because you've surrendered it to something greater than yourself. You burn, but not for vanity. You burn for purpose, and that purpose makes you magnetic. It draws without demanding. It invites without controlling. It illuminates without blinding. Your humility lets your energy breathe. It gives others room to rise with you, not shrink beneath you. It honors every heart you encounter, not as a conquest, but as a soul, worthy of dignity, of patience, of presence. It's what makes your high sexual energy feel not predatory, but priestly. Like sacred oil poured out, not spilt. Like a fire that warms the temple, not scorches it. Let this humility be seen in the way you speak, not to be heard, but to uplift. Let it be seen in your posture, not bowed in shame, but straightened in service. Let it guide how you carry your energy, without exaggeration, without manipulation, without the need to be recognized for what already radiates from you naturally. The ones who are truly powerful rarely have to prove it. They walk in silence, and the room bends in their direction. And remember this, humility is not something you visit, it's something you live in. It is a daily choice, a quiet whisper within you saying, "I don't own this power, I've been trusted with it." And that awareness becomes your protection. Because many will praise you for your presence, many will reach for your fire. But only humility will remind you not to give what hasn't been earned, not from pride, but from wisdom. So walk softly, chosen one, even while the ground trembles beneath your steps. Because the moment you stop needing to be seen is the moment you truly shine. And in that balance of thunder and stillness, of fire and reverence, you will not only rock her world, you will anchor it. Chosen one, energy like yours must learn to move to the rhythm of restraint. Not because you lack power, but because your power has matured. It is no longer wild and reckless. It is now strategic, sacred, and submitted. Restraint is not about denial. It is not about holding back out of fear. It is about knowing your values so clearly that you choose when, how, and with whom your energy is revealed. That rhythm becomes your dance, and only those who are in tune with your frequency are invited to move with you. There's profound beauty in a man who knows when not to move, when not to touch, when not to speak. Because restraint doesn't mean you lack desire. It means your desire is disciplined. It means you are not ruled by urge, you are ruled by intention. You feel the pull, you feel the fire, and yet you stand in stillness like a lion who knows his roar could shatter the calm but chooses not to roar without reason. That's not weakness, that's command. Restraint tells her, "I see you, I desire you, but I will not take you until it is right." And that alone is an awakening, because most men rush. Most men grab, most men use energy like a tool of pressure, a device of seduction. But you, chosen one, you let the moment build itself, you let the space speak, you let the silence breathe. Your restraint becomes her invitation to lean in, to unfold, to rise on her own, not forced, but free. This rhythm is subtle, it is sacred, it is not visible to all. But those who can feel it will never forget it. It's the way you pause just long enough, the way your eyes soften when others would press, the way your energy stays full, coiled, humming like thunder behind the clouds, but never crashing without reason. It's the way you don't chase the spark. You become the space where the spark becomes fire without fear. Restraint also protects you. It guards your fire from waste. It keeps your temple clean. It ensures that you do not give your sacred energy to places or people who do not have the capacity to hold it. And that, chosen one, is wisdom. Not every heart can carry what you bring. Not every moment deserves your voltage. You must learn to listen deeply to timing, to spirit, to truth beyond chemistry. Because when your energy is pure, your presence alone will stir more than most men's actions. You don't have to do much. You just have to be present and choose wisely. This is why the rhythm of restraint matters. It transforms your dynamite into design. You are no longer just power. You are precision. You are no longer just passion. You are poetry. And in that rhythm, you give rise to something most men never touch. Trust that awakens desire instead of fear. So keep your fire lit, but contained. Let it flow through you like a sacred river, not a storm. Let her feel the tension you hold, not as pressure, but as promise. The promise that what you offer is not fleeting. The promise that what you bring is not chaos. The promise that your fire is not random, it's ritual. And in that rhythm, chosen one, you will not only be felt, you will be followed. Not because you demand it, but because your restraint makes space for others to rise beside you, knowing you are a man who holds his fire with reverence and moves only when the time is holy. Chosen one, there is something deeply eternal about the kind of presence you carry. It is not just the now that responds to you. It is not just the moment that feels your voltage. You are the kind of man whose presence lingers, whose energy echoes. Long after you've left the room, long after your words fall silent, long after your gaze shifts, she still feels you. Not because you took anything, but because you left something behind. You left impact. You see, there is a difference between a man who touches and a man who transforms. Between a man who passes through her life like wind and one who walks through like a divine storm, shifting everything in his path, leaving her never quite the same again. You are not just here to make an impression. You are here to make an imprint, and the echo of your impact is not in how loudly you move, but in how deeply you connect. Your high sexual energy, when guided by wisdom, has the power to ripple through her body, her mind, her spirit, and not in a fleeting way, but in a way that rewires her sense of being. She feels more alive around you, not just because of attraction, but because your presence pulls her closer to herself. You don't just stir desire, you awaken remembrance. Remembrance of her softness, her intuition, her light, her strength. And that awakening, chosen one, is a gift that echoes far beyond your touch. Your impact is in the way she breathes after you've spoken to her, in the way she replays your silence and tries to decipher its depth, in the way she carries herself differently because your presence validated something sacred inside her. You didn't tell her who to be. You reminded her who she already was. And that kind of awakening cannot be undone. That kind of energy cannot be forgotten. It rings inside her like a bell that continues to vibrate long after the strike has passed. And you must understand this. Impact is not measured by how much you say or how intensely you move. It is measured by how much of your truth enters the moment. How much of your spirit is present in the space. That is why even the simplest interaction with you can feel like a shift. Because your energy is no longer divided, it is focused. Your words are no longer casual. They are calibrated. Your gaze is no longer passive. It is intentional. And intention is what gives your presence weight. It is what gives your fire form. But you must protect this. The echo of your impact must be guarded. You cannot let it become polluted by ego. You cannot allow it to become a strategy. Impact is not manipulation, it is ministry. And you are not here to leave a trail of women impressed. You are here to leave a trail of hearts aligned, souls lifted, minds awakened. That is the kind of legacy your energy was created to build. So when they say you are dynamite, they are not just talking about how you enter a room. They are talking about how the air still feels charged when you leave. They are talking about the echo of your presence, that unspoken frequency that continues to dance in the memory, that refuses to fade, that reminds them something real once stood in front of them. And that echo, that's your immortality. That's your signature in spirit. That's what makes you more than magnetic. That's what makes you meaningful. Chosen one, passion is not something you perform. It is something you become. It is not a trick to excite others. It is a truth that lives in your bones, beneath your voice, behind your stillness. Passion is not noise. It is not frenzy. It is a flame. And when that flame is fed by clarity, integrity, and purpose, it becomes the most beautiful, devastatingly holy fire a man can carry. This flame does not flicker in you. It roars in silence. It is the fire that allows you to walk slowly and still be felt across the room. It is the heat that makes your words land like scripture. It is the radiance that burns through your skin, through your voice, through your movement, reminding her that you are not here to impress, you are here to ignite. And that ignition is not about lust. It is about life. When your passion is real, it reaches her before your hands do. It speaks to her through the way you pause, through the way you listen, through the way your energy doesn't chase, it invites. Passion makes your presence feel alive, like something sacred is happening even in silence. It lets her know that you are not numb, that you are not dulled by the world, that your soul still burns with meaning, and that being close to you will never feel passive. It will always feel awakened. You must understand the responsibility of this flame. Not every woman has encountered a man whose fire burns this clean. Many have only known heat that wounds. Many have only been close to fire that burns without aim. But your flame is different. It doesn't just seduce, it sanctifies. It doesn't just heat, it heals. She feels more herself around you, not because you've taken control, but because your fire creates space for her to bloom. Passion also means you are fully alive. You are not sleepwalking through your days. You are present, you are engaged with life, you are connected to your mission, your craft, your voice, your movement. That kind of passion is contagious. It makes your touch magnetic, yes, but it also makes your vision compelling. She doesn't just want your body, she wants to follow your flame, to walk beside it, to be consumed by something meaningful. And when you carry that passion well, she won't just be moved, she'll be reborn. But this flame must be fed. Feed it with time and solitude. Feed it with the things that make your heart beat faster. Feed it with obedience to your calling. Feed it with the prayers you pray when no one is listening. Feed it by not wasting your energy on empty pursuits. Because a passionate man who has lost his discipline becomes a danger to himself and others. But a passionate man who walks in restraint becomes a divine force. Let your flame be clean. Let it be consistent. Let it burn without apology, but never without purpose. Let her feel it in your words, in your timing, in the way you see her before she unveils herself. Let her melt in your presence, not from pressure, but from recognition. That you are not just heat, you are home. And that home is lit by the kind of fire that never dies, the kind that turns rooms into temples, moments into memories, bodies into altars. You are the flame now, chosen one, and the world is watching how you burn. Make it holy. Make it lasting. Make it legendary. Chosen one, now that your energy has been refined, your power made sacred, your flame made holy, you must turn your gaze to the way you move within relationship. Because your high sexual energy, this dynamite presence that ignites everything around you, is not meant to exist in isolation. It was never just about personal magnetism. It was never meant to stop at attraction. It was always intended to become something bigger, something that could build harmony between souls. You were designed to be a rhythm, not a rupture. A sanctuary, not a storm. The kind of man whose presence does not just stir desire, but restores balance. Your fire, when it finds its place beside someone who is open, safe, and spiritually aligned, does not scorch. It warms. It nourishes. It teaches. It guides. This is the secret most never learn. That the same energy that sparks wild craving can also become the steady light that carries love through every season, when it is harnessed with humility, patience, and vision. Your relationships must become the reflection of this balance. You must bring structure to your passion. You must let the depth of your stillness mirror the strength of your desire. Let the softness of your listening match the heat of your presence. You are not here to overwhelm. You are here to weave connection, to create a space where a woman can blossom, not because you claimed her, but because your vibration invited her to rest, to bloom, to breathe. True harmony in relationship begins when your energy is not centered around what you can get, but around what you can give without depletion. You do not lose yourself to love. You anchor deeper into yourself so that your presence becomes a lighthouse to whoever dares to walk with you. You do not perform. You remain. You do not manipulate. You magnify. Your strength does not suppress the other, it elevates. And your silence, when used with purpose, becomes a melody she can trust when words would only cloud the truth. This is how your energy turns into a shared rhythm. It is not about control. It is not about submission. It is about sacred attunement. You rise together. You burn together. You hold the highs and the lows like a well-played instrument. Your presence becomes a song, one she knows by heart, not because she memorized it, but because it resonates with her soul's original frequency. You will find that when you carry yourself like this, love ceases to be about constant effort. It becomes flow, not without work, but work done in alignment. And this is when relationship becomes divine. Not perfect, but true. Not easy, but eternal. Because when a woman feels that she is not just safe in your energy, but seen and exalted within it, she will meet you with a depth you never imagined. She will open in ways she never knew were possible. She will reflect the best of you, because your fire lit her from the inside out.